Okay, so let's start the meeting then. So my name is Hanh Nguyen, and today we are going to get on with the lesson in Unit 2, and I'm going to cover the whole unit. So we mainly have two activities for today, which is Unit 2, the PowerPoint, and we will end with a quizzes game and some past exam papers. So first, so plants, they are adapted to live in their own habitats, and they often help them. The adaptations often help them to get the light for photosynthesis. And there is a vocab I want you guys to remember for it's going to be annual plants. So annual plants are plants that germinate, grow, flower, produce seeds, and die in less than a year. Okay, so remember this word because it's going to appear in the next few slides. So if anyone's down with their notes, I give them some few minutes. Okay, are we done? I'll move on. Okay, so there are some examples that I'm going to talk about. Sorry if you're late. Okay, so the next, it's going to be the Siberian spruce trees. I take this as an example because there are so many cool features I think that this plant have. First, the trees, it has thin and strong needles, and the needles, they also have thick and a waxy covering layer, which help them to actually prevent the loss of water in the winter. And it also has a tall and narrow shaped sloping branches so that when heavy snow falls on them, then the branches won't break and the snow will actually slide off easily. These are just some like examples, so you don't have to copy it down. Next, it's the weeds. So maybe you guys think that it's kind of like a funny plant, but it has many cool features. So yes, it's an annual plant, which determines that it will grow, germinate, flower, and die in less than a year. And the seed, when it produces the seeds, the seed can survive for long periods in difficult conditions. And the plants, some of the other plants, when they don't have these like features, it's very hard for them to live in the difficult conditions. So next is the animal adaptations. Animals, they may have structural and behavioral adaptations that help them survive in their habitat. Get down the notes, please. All turn on the cameras, please. Thank you. Okay, are we done with the notes? I'll keep on moving. So, some examples of the animal adaptations. First, it's going to be the sea lions. So, the sea lions, they adapted to hunt in sea and also spend time on land. It has smooth, streamlined bodies, which help them to swim in water easily, and it reduces the friction of the water. And then it has front and hind legs. It becomes flippers so that it can push the water and tilt them forward. And the flippers also have a large surface area. And when they're on land, the flippers, it can actually flip forward so that when they move on land, it's easier for them. Their nostrils can also be closed because when they dive, then water are gonna get into their lungs if their nostrils are open. It can also hold breath for over an hour, and it has sharp teeth, which actually help them to hunt and catch the prey. You don't have to copy this. It's just an example. Next, we go to the earthworms. So earthworms, it has long, slim, and smooth bodies to help them move between the burrows under the soil. And it also have tiny bristles on their undersides, which are called the chaetae. So as you can look in the picture, a bird is trying to grip an earthworm out of the ground to be their meal. But the earthworm is using their chaetae to grip the ground the uh, of their burrows so that it helps them to not get captured by the bird. Okay. We'll keep on moving. The next chapter, we're going to talk about ecology, but mostly we're going to just talk about ecologists. So, ecologists, they study organisms in their environment, and they often use the sampling technique. So, the sampling technique is a representative part of the area that they are studying. Get down the notes if you wanted to. I'll leave some minutes for people who are writing the notes. Okay, so are we done with the notes? I'll keep on moving. Next, we're going to watch a video.
Have you ever wondered how scientists know the species? That kind of information is a result of what is known as mapping and zoning. Scientists will go to a specific location,
Coding, sorry.
such as a swamp or forest, and try and find all of the different species that live.
Okay, so you guys know what? I will share the link of the video so that we don't waste time. Okay, so we'll go to Unit 2.4, the food webs and the energy flow. A food web shows how energy is transferred between organisms, and it is made up of many interconnecting food chains. Okay, are we done with the notes? Keep on moving. Okay, so this is outside of the notebook. I just wanted to introduce you guys. Okay, we don't have to write this down. Okay, so the history of the food web. In the 1927, the ecologist Charles Elton described the food chains as a food cycle to illustrate the order in which species eat each other in his book, The Animal Ecology, and he also introduces the food web in his book too. He is born in the 1900s and he died on 1991, which is a sad fact. Okay, so this is an example of a food web. As you guys can see here, usually food webs will start with the energy source such as sunlight, and then it will go to the producers such as trees or grass. Then it comes to the primary consumers, which are all herbivores like giraffes and zebras and more. And then it will come up to the secondary consumers, which eat the primary ones. And usually the food web will end in decomposers. So what are decomposers? Decomposers are things like mushroom, fungi, or insects and more, and they all get energy from dead organisms or like waste. And I want to show you some types of some types of decomposers. It can be the worm, mushrooms, insects, and bacteria. So how do they feed themselves? We're going specifically for fungi. So fungi, when this is an example, okay, when they grow on like bread or food, then it will grow a thing called the hyphae, and it kind of looks like a root of the plant, but this root is very, very special because it produces enzymes to break down starch and protein from food they are trying to get the nutrients from. We'll keep on going. So the importance of decomposers. The decomposers, it breaks down dead bodies and waste so that living organisms can use it again. And imagine if we don't have decomposers, then actually the waste and all the dead organisms, they are just going to pile up, and we don't know how to, like, we can't just burn it. Okay. So the next unit chapter we're going to talk about is the populations. So what is a population? A population is being in the same place at the same time. Okay, so some factors that affect the size of population. So first, we're going to look at this chart. So increasing population will have, so explain further that the birth rate will be larger than the death rate for increasing population. But for decreasing population, then it will have a falling birth rate, but a rising death rate. So definitely the death rate will be larger than the birth rate. So that's why it's increasing and decreasing. Few minutes till some people were taking some notes. Okay. we'll move on. So the first factor we're going to talk about is the food supply. If the number of food supply fall, then not enough animal would get enough food. So first, if food runs out, then the animals won't get enough food, and then they die because of the nutrients lack, or able to have offsprings because, of course, they are lacking nutrients. Okay, and the second factor we're going to talk about is the predators. It's hard to explain, so I'll just take an example. For example, penguins are living and their predators can be polar bears, can be killer whales, and if the population of those predators which trying to eat the penguins are higher, then of course, and it's rising, of course, then the predators, they will need more food. And then of course, penguins will be decreasing because predators, they need more food. Simply as that. And then the third factor will be disease. So as you guys can know, some disease cause a high death rate and a low birth rate, and that will decrease the population. For example, the pandemic we are experiencing right now, that's a disease. Okay, we're going to talk about the pollution. This is actually an important thing because Earth is going insane. So the definition of pollution is the addition of harmful, for example, like oil into the sea or acidifications of the sea level. Okay, so next we're going to explore how fertilizers will pollute the water. So if fertilizer is added to a lake, then algae will start to grow fast and the population of it will increase in that lake. And after that, the algae on the surface of the lake will block the light of the plants underneath the lake to grow, and the plants will die because they can't photosynthesis and make food. And then after that, the died plants will produce more food for the decomposers, which is the algae, such as, or like bacteria. And then the bacteria itself will take all oxygen of that lake. So technically, then the fish will die or they will move to other places because there's not enough oxygen in the lake for them to live. Whoever has not got their cameras on, please turn it on. Thank you. Okay, so we'll keep moving on with the lesson. So this is an algal bloom. As the definition of it, the population of the algae grow because of fertilizer in the lake, or the pollution. This is called an algal bloom. As you can see in the image, then this color, but now it is covered in a very green and muddy color, and this is because of the algae growing too much on the surface of the lake. Okay, so we'll keep moving. So the algal bloom, the threats of it is it will produce toxic chemicals, and animals drink in the water may be poisoned, and animals that live in that own water itself will also be poisoned. Okay, so are we okay to move on? Sure, let's move on. So chapter 2.8 is going to tell us about the habitat destruction, and we are the one who made this earth look so ugly. So first, we are going to talk about wetlands. Humans, they cut down the rainforest. As you can know, many species, animals, they live here and they take shelter here a lot. And now because of the cut down of the rainforests, now species, they became extinct, and many others are endangered just because their shelters are destroyed by us. So wetlands, people are also draining it to make crops or to build. And sometimes it's also used to make water harbors, but they dug it too deep. And you can see the destruction of the wetlands as in the image below. It doesn't look nice at all. And for the coral reefs, then carbon dioxide in air, which mixes with the seawater and it produces a weak acid. And this type of acid actually prevents the coral reefs to actually like make bones. Okay, now came to protecting the environment. Um, so first, we're going to talk about the Ramsar Convention. This convention is signed to save the wetlands, and 161 countries has, and it actually has helped many wetlands to safe from being drained by humans. People all over the world are also acting together to try reduce the harm we do to the environment. And as you know, it is also proved that it's very difficult to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions. And now we've caused global warming to Earth, which is also bad. Okay, now came to the best part of the lesson, which is the quizzes I've created. So I think it's kind of late, so I'll only make like a short one so that we can go sleep early and prepare for tomorrow lessons. Wait. Okay, so this is the joining code. Oops, wait. Loading. Here we go. Oh my gosh, this is very hard. Okay. Are we all in? Okay, so I'll start it. Wait. Guys, wait. Okay. So thanks for joining my class and joining the lesson. And also I appreciate it for all of your efforts. And I especially wanted to name some student that has good results for the first try in the quizzes. That can include Shami, and that can include timing, and many other lots of people. And there are also many long races. Okay, so I will send you guys the past papers on Messenger. And okay, that's it. I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you for listening.